So finally, after many years, since the days of Shogun 2, we have finally got a multiplayer update. It has been long overdue, and I'm super excited to dive in and take a look at the brand new Domination mode for Total War Warhammer 3. This is a brand new mode coming to the game. It is not going to replace the old, classic land battles. You'll still be able to do that. This is just an additional one. And I think it's great for people who are looking for more of a competitive battle, a battle where players aren't just going to go ahead and camp the back of the fields or hide in forests. This is the game mode that drives you into the center to capture these flags, to obtain points, and eventually win the battle. So we are diving in with an online battle between me and Indie Pride. I'll leave a link to his channel down below in the description. If you're looking for multiplayer battles, there is no one better than him to check out. And this is an engagement between me playing as the awesome Kairos Fate Weaver, and then obviously Zinch, and he is playing as the forces of Nurgle. So what is the Domination mode all about? So as you can see on this battle map right now, we'll go on slow-mo as the battle is kicking off. We can see 3 individual capture points. Each one of these go ahead and provide you with 5 victory points. Obviously, if you hold all 3, you'll be getting 15, and it's first to 5,000 points. Not only that though, this is not the entire force that I am bringing this day. We also have a supply mechanic. You have a base income of 16, and I believe if you're losing, you also gain a few more just to kind of maybe try and get you back in the game. So when you're picking your armies, you have your initial starting force that you'll bring to the field to move over and try and kind of get map domination, and then you'll also have a second rank which you'll be able to call in as reinforcements. If you've seen any of the campaign battles or survival battles, it's very much like that in the sense of you can bring in soldiers for your supplies. If I wanted to, I could have stuck Kairos into my reserves and saved up for 3,000 or however many points he costs to go ahead and bring him in later on in the battlefield to have a big impact. So it's really cool. You can kind of, in the early game, you want to really focus on getting these lower tier units out to really just kind of add to your map domination. I invested heavily in Kairos because he's an absolute monster. With all of his abilities, he just absolutely tears apart anybody he wants to. Right now, he's just popped his Skull of Destiny to go ahead and gain a bit more power reserve on the go whilst he's moving over, because there's really no reason not to. So one of the things in the beginning of this battle as well is none of these points do unlock immediately. It does take a little while for the points to go ahead and kick off. So it's really like getting into position, trying not to lose anything. If you can end up sniping stuff as well, that's absolutely huge. So right now I'm moving over with Kairos. Kairos has an absolutely insane assortment of abilities. Obviously, he is the Fate Weaver. So I'm going to move over right now, and I do go ahead and pin these guys down with a pretty juicy Gaze of Fate. And then I also stick down a Pendulum and just a look at that damage right away, cutting through some Nurglings, the Forsaken, and also these Plague Toads as well, as I shoot some more missiles off with Kairos to really just try and pick down some damage, because again, these Plague Toads are really going to be the units that are going to be causing the issues as Zinch. I don't really have anything to deal with them until I get to my later units, which are going to be my Knights, which you'll see coming onto the field in a bit. Reinforce with some more of my Pink Horrors of Zinch, just kind of reinforcing. The Pink Horrors have a little bit more range than the Blues, but I'll mainly be using the Blues as a front line. One of the nice things as well is that Nurgle don't really have a ton of range to my Forsaken, who are so strong, can really get up in the battlefield and do some decent damage as Kairos continues just to posture around the battlefield. And I believe points can be captured in 1 minute. And right now, Indy is sitting back. He's realizing, okay, I've already taken a bit of damage. I don't want to overcommit. But the nice thing is, like, this is one of the main things about this game mode, is it's not about, like, these one-off engagements. It's not about having a big old brawl and just getting stuck in as Kairos descends into the enemy ranks. You can really, if you're losing an engagement, you can pull out of that. You can spend your resources, regroup your forces, and move out. If units are destroyed, they can be brought back. And again, it's just the first person to 5,000, which I think makes for a really, really interesting battle, because all of a sudden, it's not just this one big engagement. It's kind of a prolonged fight where you really get stuck in over time, and I think that makes for really, more engaging competitive play, because it's, you make one mistake, you don't just lose the game. You can come back from it, you can try and reinforce. There'll be a battle replay on my channel later on where I'm playing Indy again and it's a really kind of completely different story of how the battle does go down to this one. So right now, I'm just trying to pin down these units, try and kind of keep him busy whilst we're fighting. Kairos is fairly tanky, and again, the barrier on Zinch is just absolutely incredible. Right now, I've got some blues making my way up, and I also committed to deciding to basically leave the left flank. I wasn't going to overcommit to that. I'm going to take the right flank. I've got one unit there, whereas Indy maybe has a few too many units committed to this left flank right now, considering I'm not going for it. But again, I could choose to go for it at any point. And I also do manage to go ahead and get my Forsaken stuck in against his Nurglings. And yeah, and I also managed to get into his Toads as well. So I'm going to do a crazy amount of damage to these guys. The Forsaken for Zinch is just so strong. Because of that barrier, it really takes away some of their weaknesses, which is that initial kind of attack of just getting melted down. And there you go. Victory points have now unlocked. I've been able to capture the center one with all my units there. Also, the more units you have in a victory point, the quicker you capture it. Infantry capture it really quickly as well. I've been able to get a lot of my ammunition off. I've got some flamers moving up as well. So I'm going to start burning these Toads down very, very effectively. I mean, look at that blue flame just going off. The warp fire going to go ahead and rip through these units and start to do some damage. Oh my god, look at that hit on that Toad, just bringing it down immediately. Also, the blues able to go in. And that's one of the reasons, again, why Zinch is so strong in these situations, is because they have these cheap-ass units. Kairos is just causing issues in the back. I have some of my fairies up here, along with other blues as well. So yeah, again, you can really start to see that, you know, it's kind of obvious what Indy's plan is right now. He plans of, like, you know, kind of crushing him from the center. Smart move right there, trying to dominate this. And also, as you can tell, a lot of my units are in the center. So his plan is to take his forces and try and take back my victory point. Right now, I am really winning this. So I'm gaining, what, 15 points to his 5. And he's only just captured his point as well. So he's scoring a lot slower than I am, which is obviously really nice. As you can see, yeah, I'm capping very, very quickly. I've got plenty of points under my control. And the supplies are coming in. So because I've experienced damage inflicted, because I've done some damage, I'm also getting some more resources, which will hopefully allow me to push in. I brought in a unit of Chaos Knights, you know, obviously realizing that Indy does have an absolute ton of them Plague Toads. Bringing in a unit that can kind of match them, keep up with them, and also get stuck in wouldn't be a bad idea. And you can see this unit in all its glory moving forward. So as the fight does continue, again, I'm just kind of moving more soldiers over. Kairos is just doing his thing. I mean, look at his HP as well. 5,000, that barrier is just replenishing, and he can go again and do whatever he wants. More warp fire. Again, I'm not so, you know, not mad that he's engaging me. I'm able to still get shots off as the fight does continue. There's nothing bad there. These flamers of Zinch are able to sit back and apply that warp fire debuff to the enemy, and also just do a crazy amount of damage as well. The nice thing about the warp fire is it allows my pinks and my blues to do even more damage, and the knights are clashing in again. Really looking to, yeah, pin down the enemy, keep this point under my control, because as you can see, my points are going up extremely fast right now. I'm obviously outpacing him 2-1, which is nice. Kairos is going to kind of come over and really help out the center again. There weren't really any great opportunities for me to use a lot of my missiles, but as you can see, my reserves, as they come in, are able just to kind of sit back. Another unit of Forsaken being brought into the battlefield. Yeah, and again, like, the main fight is in the center, so these pinks are able just to fire in, and it's quite hard for him to get to me. Kairos smashing in to the battlefield once again, unleashing unholy magic upon the spawn of Nurgle. Really just so awesome. One of my favorite models in Warhammer 3, that's for sure. But my right flank is starting to look a little bit scary. He is really overwhelming me here. The blue horrors have now broken, which is unfortunate. They're going to start to crumble. I do still have a unit of Forsaken here. Obviously, that poison debuff is going to be frustrating. However, still really strong nonetheless. But I am just fighting more Nurglings. You know, Indy is doing a great job of just completely overwhelming me with units. And that's why, like, Nurgle are going to be a really strong faction of this, because they have them Nurglings to really just get yourself map control, pin down the enemy. And it's such a cheap way of applying that poison debuff to a unit. You can see, you know, he's engaged me here, and now he's just going to send a unit over to obviously deal with my blue horrors over there with his flying units. And this point is starting to look a little bit scary. Obviously, Indy has really closed himself in right now, really focusing in on my center. And I'm obviously going to have to really start to think about it. You know, it's all about map positioning and being in the right place at the right time. You know, I see that he is starting to dominate this right flank, so I'm starting to kind of situate my pinks over here. Again, Kairos is incredible right now, just doing so much damage to the enemies. I've been able to also get a unit of my pink set up here, just firing into the plague bearers, who again are so slow, it's going to take them a while to arrive over to me. So the damage that I'm being able to inflict is just, yeah, pretty large on these guys. However, they are going to catch me eventually, which obviously is not great, but the pink's able to, yeah, pin that unit down very effectively. The center is, though, however, being captured by Indy. He has more infantry here than I do. I only have, what, 2 units of infantry, whereas he has, what, 3 or 4? And so the point is turning over to him. He has more kind of, I guess, weight in this center point than I do. So he's going to be able to take that back, even though Kairos is up here, causing a lot of damage. You can also see the Forsaken of Nurgle right here as well. Just rot and malice as more Plague Toads go down. The Knights trying their best. And there you go, boom, the center point has now been taken, which is allowing Indy to really start to catch up. Now you can see he's getting 10 points every tick, whereas I'm only getting 5, and that's going to really help him out. My supplies are looking good. I've got over 1,000 or 1,100 stockpiles, so I'll be able to bring in some, some more expensive units quite quickly. And I've also been able to deal with his right flank as well, protecting it quite quickly. But you can also see like how quickly it is for him to get down to this point if he needs to. We also have these Vanguard reinforcement zones as well, where only Vanguard units can deploy, which is a nice addition. It means that you can pick up a few of them to try and catch your opponent off guard. I also brought in a chariot as well, a burning chariot. And again, this guy applies the warp fire debuff and also does an incredible amount of damage as well with that power. I'm also, as the battle does continue in the center, I am also, just sending over a cheap unit of Blue Horrors over to this point to start putting some pressure on it. Always like kind of, taking that down and, kind of assessing the situation. And you can see that warp fire as well from the chariot. Incredible amount of damage. However, Indy is just overrunning me with his units right now. That warp fire, though, just burning the Nurglings alive. But my pinks are not long for this world, that is for sure. As more and more of it comes in. I say that, though, I mean, we're doing a pretty good damage. I'm also now bringing over my reinforcements from the center again. Really trying to reclaim the central point. Unfortunately, it's still not under my control. I guess, yeah, again, he does more models in here that's causing him the ability to capture it. However, I have been able to get over here, and now I'm going to start capping his back point. And I also have a soul grinder up here as well, firing off. And look at that damage stucking into these Forsaken of Nurgle. The flames really coming in as well. And just, yeah, the real strong ability of being able to do this to your opponent is huge. However, as you can see, I've left the right flank completely under his control, and now he's moving over to go ahead and hit me. So it's a real back and forth right now. Luckily, though, I've been able to capture his back points, so he's going to lose 5 points, and I'm going to gain 5 points from that as well, which is absolutely massive. But I'm really trying to make my way over to this back point. More reinforcements being brought in. He's got another unit of Nurglings coming in, and also another unit of Plague Bearers as well. Luckily, the Nurglings have that Vanguard deploy, so they can obviously deploy a little bit closer to the battlefield. In the center, though, I've been able to go ahead and claim a victory right there, and boom, triple capped right now. That is absolutely huge. Another unit of Nurglings coming out, but yeah, triple capping is huge. You just win so fast. Like, look at my victory points going up right now, and again, it's not really like India's too much left now. He's committed everything to this point. And, obviously if he takes his back, it's going to be good, but he's still, lacking 2 points in the center and in the back. I'm actually moving up a unit of my Blue Horrors here so they can start getting some good shots off as he approaches over that hill. The Nurglings will come, but I don't think it will be enough at this point. And you can just see just holding a triple cap for this long is boosting my points so dramatically. And even though, Indy is in here with superior units, my Knights of Zinch completely surrounded now. The Nurglings just say, I like, oh, the Nurglings are such a cool animation. Kairos is in here as well. And I believe, he is capturing this point. Yeah, he is still taking this point. But again, I'm still getting them 15 points every single second, which is big. I've also been able to intercept his reinforcements as well. Keep these Plague Bearers a little bit further back for a bit of time, which is nice. And now committing more of my soldiers over. I've got my soul grinder set up here as well. Summoning the powers of 40k. And doing tons of damage. And yeah, you can just see the balance power is turning very much in my favor. You know, India is again bringing in more and more soldiers, but unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough. You know, able to again put a lot of pressure back on this point with a unit of fairies being brought in. And Nurglings, but you know, I'm just holding this point for too long. This sacrificial unit, there's plenty, and that's going to be the tick of the tide, even if he captures this point. And again, he can always come back from this as well. If he was able to triple cap me and stop me from getting any points, he 100% could come back from this, but I'm still able to bring in plenty of soldiers. Another unit of Forsaken coming back in. Again, that's a unit that's been destroyed and just kind of making its way back into the battlefield. And at this point in the battle, you know, I'm simply just making it so that he can't overcommit to this. He can't get onto my points. I'm just trying to engage him outside. Very cool. Yeah, there's another unit comes flying in again. Right here. More arrows, and there you go. The Forsaken of his units are breaking. And another scythe going down, just ripping through these units. I mean, look at that carve in the snow. More blues being brought in again, capturing this back. So you can see, again, I'm down to 5 points now. But because I've got such a lead, unless he triple caps me and stops me from getting any points, the battle is going to be in my favor. And I only need 150 points left to pick up. And that is going to be a GG for me. Very lucky. I think it was just unfortunate. You know, I think Nurgle will have a hard time against Zinch for sure. Obviously, India is far better than me. And obviously, like Kairos abilities as well coming in clutch during that. That is going to be a GG. And I'm going to be able to clutch this one out. It was my only victory of the day. We played like 5 battles and he demolished me in every single one. Besides this one, where I think it was going a bit easy on me and bringing a bit of a funner army to the battlefield. There you go, a victory indeed. I hit 5,000 points. So that's the new Domination game mode. I think it's really fun. It's definitely not perfect. There's loads of stuff they can still improve upon, whether it's like a lockout mode at the end, because sometimes you might be coming back. Like Indy was starting to come back there. However, you know, towards the end, you know, he just... Obviously, I built up a lead, and that was strong enough to end up winning the day. So I think there's still lots of stuff they can do with maybe like a lockout period at the end, or adjusting, you know, kind of maps or capture points, maybe giving some bonuses here and there. But I think it's a great step forward, and hopefully something we'll see in the future, you know, just kind of expanded upon more. Because I think for competitive players, that's going to be a really fun game mode, because there's so many choices. You know, what unit do you bring in at what time? Do you save for big units? When you commit, do you fall back? There's just loads of options, and I think that's what, you know, Total War multiplayer does need for people who want to take it a bit more serious. Obviously, land battles are always going to be there, but I think that'll be really, really fun. So make sure to go ahead and drop a like and a comment if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.